Coming up next is Indy News number 135. It's going to be an all Dark Horse Plus One edition of Indy News, and we're going to talk about Abe Sapien and his upcoming miniseries over at Dark Horse. We're also going to talk about Gerard Way and My Chemical Romance and the series that he's got coming up with the Killjoys very soon. We're also going to talk about Tomb Raider. She's coming back from the dead, not just in video games, not just in movies, but also over at Dark Horse. And we're going to wrap it up with our Plus One, which is going to be about the passing of an old friend. All that and more coming right up.
Alternate Reality now opens at 10:30 instead of 11 on Sundays. Losing half an hour sleep over this, and so you guys better show up. Indie comics need a champion, someone to attest to their awesomeness. While he's out getting pizza, here's comic book man and Bo.
Say what you say, but give me that bomb news from Bo. Indy Comic Book News, episode 135. Overwhelmification Factor.
Hey folks, how you doing? Comic Book Man here. Welcome once again to my video outhouse. Bo?
Yes?
What time is it?
It's Indie News time.
Indie News time, coming to you from this place, Alternate Reality, located at the intersection of 111th and Kedzie in beautiful downtown Mount Greenwood. Alternate Reality, where all my new comics are always 15% off every day for everyone, including all of my Dark Horse indie comics. Bo!
I love Dark Horse.
Bo!
Yeah?
In April, we're going to see the first issue of the 3-issue limited series entitled
Abe Sapien, Dark and Terrible.
Another Abe Sapien series from Dark Horse. What's
It's
up with
from
Abe?
Mike McNullis, Scott Elliott, and Sebastian Fiumara. Good artist.
Ooh.
Who? Sebastian Fiumara.
Ooh. Okay.
Now, for all of you folks who've been reading The Adventures of Hellboy, you know that Abe got shot, and he was placed in a basically a aquatic tank to heal. And he's been going through these bizarre and unusual manifestations. Basically, he's mutating.
Metamorphoses?
He's metamorphoses. Because he was shot by BRP newcomer Phoenix. It was an accident. He didn't mean to shoot Abe Sapien, but Abe's kind of creepy looking. He probably went, ah, fish guy! You know, so Abe's out, and he's going to look really weird.
That sounds much better than what they actually did in the story.
What?
Ah, fish guy, bam!
I would have liked fish guy, bam. He would have, Phoenix would have been the stupid member of BRP. He didn't know they had monsters involved. He thought it was like a Girl Scout thing.
Okay. After being announced in 2009, we're finally going to see the fabulous true life of what?
The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys.
Ah, the fabulous Killjoys. Wasn't that used to be over at Image?
No. It was at Dark Horse. Remember Umbrella Academy?
Yeah.
Umbrella Academy was at Dark Horse.
Okay.
It wasn't an Image.
Okay.
Gerard Way,
something else.
Sean Simon, and Becky Cloonan have teamed up on the project that was announced, they said, in 2009 at the San Diego Con. It'll be launching finally in June.
Okay.
Now, the comic will tie to My Chemical Romance. That's where Gerard Way hangs out. That's the musical band he's in. He's a big deal. Sarah knows all about Gerard Way.
Are they still a band?
They're still a band because they had an album that came out called Danger Days, The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys.
At the end of this newscast, Sarah will be there. Be sure to ask her about My Chemical Romance. She'll tell you all about it.
And so now, if you picked up that CD, the comic will actually be out, so you can go. You could listen to the CD, which had Grant Morrison was involved in the CD. Apparently, he's doing some voices in that stuff, and you could listen to the CD, and you could read the comic at the same time.
Okay, how about that?
Sounds cool.
Okay. The Tomb Raider franchise, as you might have heard, is coming back. There's a new video game coming out. They're trying to dust off Lara Croft and bring her back.
Yeah, they're trying to do a new movie as well.
Now, yes, they're trying to do a new movie. And the last time we saw Lara Croft in the comics was over at Top Cow, over at Image. But when she comes back to the comic book world, she will not be at Image anymore. She will be at
Dark Horse.
Dark Horse.
The new Tomb Raider video game is coming out, and so the folks at Dark Horse and the people who are making the game decided to team up, and they're going to do a 48-page graphic novel hardcover called Tomb Raider: The Beginning, which will start Lara Croft's life all over again. And if this 48-page hardcover sells relatively well, or if it does well in trade, then we might see some more ongoing Lara Croft comics, which the various incarnations of the Lara Croft comics have kind of been interesting for a little while. And then when you get to about issue 6 or 7, readers started to go, why am I reading this?
Well, when Image did it, that book ran 50 issues.
They kept changing, and actually the artwork was, the selling point wasn't the storylines, it was the artwork. The artwork was really, really good.
Yeah, well, a lot of cheesecake on the covers, which makes me wonder, you have any idea how they're going to be approaching the series? Is it going to be adventure stories, or is it going to be cheesecake? Because the Image thing, they did the adventure stories, but there was a ton of cheesecake in the thing. And, like, you take a character like Catwoman over at DC, you can do cheesecake, but DC has mostly tried to do hardcore stories with Catwoman. There might be a little cheesecake slipping in there, but that's not the point behind the series. The last time Tomb Raider was around, that was pretty much the point behind the series. Was
Cheesecake. I think this version in the video game, apparently they're going to downgrade the sexuality content a little, but not so much that people go, why the hell am I looking at this?
Was this all a play because they're losing Star Wars and they're trying to...
No. They've been talking about doing this Tomb Raider movie for like a year or so now.
Well, she's an intellectual property. It's been fallow for a while now.
Property too, right?
Nobody's done anything with her for a while, and I would imagine. I mean, the last movie came out 8 years ago, 10 years ago?
Longer than 8 years ago.
And Image canceled the title almost that long ago, and there's been nothing going on with the character up until recently. So there's a whole new audience out there, for the Adventures of Laura Croft.
No, nothing.
No, there's been
Laura's
nothing.
kind of like disappeared into the mists of nothing.
So this is probably the chance that we're
She's
gonna
back!
Okay. Our last story, as I said at the top, this is Dark Horse +1. Here's the +1. This is dead.
Last issue. Comics Buyer's Guide ends publication with $16.99. Comics Buyer's Guide, for people who live in Chicago, when you would go to the con, there was always a table where the Buyer's Guide was there. And they
were probably across the country, too.
Yeah, and they would always make it a point where you go, hi, here's a Comic Books Buyer's Guide. Why don't you sign this thing so we'll get your mailing address or whatever, and you'll get a free issue. But over the years, the Buyer's Guide has become non-essential.
Well, the same thing is happening to the Buyer's Guide that happened to Wizard. The internet put it on a business.
Yeah, most people don't read the articles. They read it for the price guide. Well, you can get a price guide online.
There really hasn't been a price guide in here in forever.
Yeah, so it's like, why does it exist?
I mean, if you're not going to put a price guide in there's really no reason.
Who's working on this damn thing?
Well,
they got guest creators, a lot of ads, a whole bunch of ads, articles from people that most people go, who?
Well, the Comics Buyer's Guide always was an ad zine. This, for those of us who are a little bit older, this used to be a weekly newspaper which came out. It was basically like Chicago Reader, if you're from Chicago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chock full of ads, and in between the ads, some columns, a letters thing,
some news.
But the ads are what sold the thing, and it was a 2 to 3 section newspaper that would come out every single week. And when the Krause Publications bought it back in the late 70s, early 80s, I forget when, it went from being a weekly newspaper to a once-a-month publication, big, thick magazine. And the magazine's gotten a little bit thinner over the years, but it's still maintained its monthly shipping schedule. But, for some of us, we really miss the old weekly newspaper that we used to get in. I remember carrying, back at the Comic Emporium, we used to carry the Comics Buyer's Guide newspaper, and it was a great little rag. It really was. And this has been good too. But there's a soft spot in my heart for the old newspaper, which hasn't been around for like 25 years. But still, it is missed. It is missed. And at 12 issues a year, monthly publication. This is issue 16.99. It was around 15.95 or 6 or 7 that they transferred over from the newspaper to this. So it's been about 100 issues, and that would be 12 issues a year. That'd be probably 10, 12 years now.
And as magazines are going, the magazine market is shrinking down to a bare minimum, and this couldn't possibly be justifying the amount of money it costs to make it for it to be shipped out all the time.
Yeah, and that's it. That's it for Comics Buyer's Guide, and that's it for us. We got no more time for any more news. But go to the store's website, check out all the news that Bo sends me. I post up there. Bo!
Yes?
Where can they find more indie news at?
Well, Sarah will tell you about where you can find it, but first you have to listen to her talk about My Chemical Romance.
www.myalternatereality.com. Comic Book Man would love to hear any and all of your insane, awesome suggestions. The crazier, the better.
So go to the store's website, check out all his news. Until next time, this is Comic Book Man.
And this is Bo.
Saying, gonna miss it. Gonna miss it.
I'm not.
Bye!
The Video Outhouse is brought to you by some of the finest people willing to work for free. This is a list of some of them.